the lotus feet. Chudamani Shrotriya Sadguru Swami Virajeshwara Saraswati, on behalf of all of us, today's discourse on Viveka Chudamani will continue. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha, Sadashiva Samarambham, Sri Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryantam, Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam, Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram, Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam, Putra Bhashyakrito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gosharam Tamagocharam, Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham. Om Namo Bhagavate Virajeshwaraya. Harihi Om. There was some technical problem on my side, so there was a delay for a few minutes. We hope we'll continue with that. Last time we had come to the shloka number, verse number 375. Now, this is an important shloka in the sense the commentary on this shloka given by Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal is very, very, very pertinent on one particular point, which is very difficult for most of us to understand. So that is why. Vairagyatma param swakasya janakam pashyami vashyatmanaha Tachet Shuddhataratma Bodha Sahitam Swarajya Samrajya Dhuk. We had come to this shloka number 375 in the last session. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕ 4 ಚರಣ ಇದೆ. ಮೊದಲನೇ 2 ಚರಣ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಚಂದ್ರಶೇಖರ ಭಾರತಿ ಮಹಾಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವಿಶಿಷ್ಟವಾದ ಒಂದು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹತ್ವವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಉಪದೇಶ ಅಡಗಿದೆ. ಅದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ವೈರಾಗ್ಯಾತ್ ಪರಂ ನ ಸುಖಸ್ಯ ಜನಕಂ ಪಶ್ಯಾಮಿ ವಶ್ಯಾತ್ಮನಃ ತಚ್ಚೇತ್ ಶುದ್ಧತರಾತ್ಮ ಬೋಧ ಸಹಿತಂ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯದು. ಶಿಷ್ಯನಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಶ್ರೀ ಶಂಕರ ಭಗವತ್ಪಾದರು, ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ವತ್ಸ, ವೈರಾಗ್ಯಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಆಗಲಿ, ಯಾವ ಲಕ್ಷಣವೇ ಆಗಲಿ ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದರಿಂದ ಪರಮ ಸುಖ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಂತಹ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದ ರಸ ಉತ್ಪತ್ತಿಗೆ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮವಾದದ್ದು. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಶ್ಯಾತ್ಮನಿಗೆ, ತನ್ನ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳನ್ನು ಜಯಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನಿಗೆ, ಸಕಲ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರಭುತ್ವವನ್ನು ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷುವಿಗೆ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಭೂಷಣ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ತಚ್ಚೇತ್ ಶುದ್ಧತರಾತ್ಮಬೋಧ ಸಹಿತಂ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯದು. ಈ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆತ್ಮ ಸಂಪನ್ನನೂ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಅಂತಹ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷು ಇನ್ನು ಹೇಳೋದೇನಿದೆ, ಆತನಿಗೆ ಸಕಲವೂ ಬಂದಂತೆ, ಸಕಲವೂ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯಾದಂತೆ, ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಆತನಿಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಂತೆ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸೂಚ್ಯವಾಗಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಈಸ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನಿಂಗ್ ಟು ದಿ ಡಿಸೈಪಲ್ is very simple. It looks very simple, but very difficult to comprehend that. Acharya says, see, look, my dear disciple, for any mumukshu, sadhaka, for a muni who is in the path of liberation, with determination, if he is practicing the sadhana, and if he has controlled all his senses, all the 5 senses, the sense organs are under his control. If all the senses are in his control, I cannot see, my dear disciple, Anything else other than vairagya, the total, what we call renunciation, which can generate the supreme bliss, which can generate that eternal bliss, everlasting bliss. So, what Acharya is telling here, if a person who has full self-control over all the five senses, and also if he is endowed with the quality of vairagya, the desirelessness in the life, not wanting anything anymore, totally averse, if we renunciate everything, no more wants and no more desires to possess this or that. So if the vairagya is also there along with the self-control, such a person is called Jitendriya, the one who has won over all the five senses. The sense of seeing, the sense of hearing, the sense of smelling, the sense of taste, and the sense of touching. He is referred as Jitendriya. And along with that, if there is renunciation also, if he has reached the stage of wanting nothing in the life, no more wants, no more desires. He is averse to all these things. He is self-sufficient and self-contained. He is really contented in everything, in every aspect of life. ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಬಯಸದೆ, ಸರ್ವವನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಆಸೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ, ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ವಿರಕ್ತ ಭಾವದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು, ಆತನಿಗೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನಂದ ರಸ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆತನಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಆನಂದ ತಾನೇ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಉಕ್ಕುತ್ತದಪ್ಪ. ಇಂತಹ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯದಿಂದ ಬಂಧನ ನಿವೃತ್ತಿಯಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸೂಚನೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಚೇತ್ ಶುದ್ಧತರಾತ್ಮ ಬೋಧ ಸಹಿತಂ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯ ಧೋ. Now that means what? This becomes a gateway to the liberation, to the everlasting bliss. He will be liberated from the bondage itself of the samsara. He will become a realized man or a jivan mukta. See, these are the points. Now, so without any desire, giving up all the expectations, if he continues his sadhana, if he cultivates the deep, one-pointed, concentrated meditation, and then realizing, discriminating what is Atma Vastu, what is Anatma Vastu, if he is in the deep meditation, then he will be endowed with the two attributes, Swarajya and Samrajya. He becomes himself Swarat and he himself becomes Samrat. That is a point Acharya is mentioning. ಅಂತಹ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷು ಆತನೇ ಸ್ವತಃ ಸ್ವರಾಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾನೆ, ಸಾಮ್ರಾಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾನೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯ ಧುಕ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್. So what is the two words here, Swarajya and Samrajya? See, Swarajya means lordship over oneself, becoming a lord of himself. So nobody can be a lord for him. Nobody can boss over him in our sense, in simple English. He will be the boss to himself. Nobody can boss over him. So that is Swarat concept, Swarajya. Lordship over one's own self. Others cannot bind him. Others cannot touch him. He is totally free. Sarvatantra, Swatantra. Swarat, Swarajya. Itara aniyamatvam, aniyamavatvam. That is a point here used in the Bhashyam by Mahaswami on this sloka. So he becomes Samrat also. He is endowed with the attribute of Samrajya. What is Samrajya? Sarva Niyamakatvam, as it is called. Samrajya means state of ruling over anything and everything and everyone. He will rule over everything. He will rule over everybody. He will be a boss to himself and he will be a boss to others. Nobody can challenge him in that sense. In the sense, what is the sense here? Spiritually, he is above everything in life. That is, he becomes a real Samrat. He becomes a real Swarat. That is the point Acharya is using. So such a person, now we come to one important point of the explanation given by Sri Chandrasekhar Bharati Mahaswamigal on this particular sloka. In his Bhashyam, in his Vyakhyana, Mahaswamigal writes one interesting pertinent. Such a serious sadhaka, mumukshu, jitnyasu, who has developed full renunciation, who has reached a stage of total desirelessness, who has controlled all his five senses. Nothing disturbs him. Nothing moves him. Nothing binds him in a sort of what we call as delusion. He is beyond the delusion of the worldly pleasures. No worldly pleasure can attract him. No worldly pleasure can bind him. Nothing can bind him. Nothing can attract him. That is what meant by Vashyatmanaha. Mahaswami is writing on that point here. Nothing can bind him in the world. Nothing can attract him in the world. He is above all these things, materialistic aspects, pleasurable things, joyful things. He is beyond what we call as the pairs of opposites. He becomes Dvandvatit. He is beyond the pain and suffering or the pleasure and joy. He becomes a pure witness. Nothing will move him, nothing will bind him. Because he has become Vashyatmagal, Jitendriyaha, full control over himself, all the five senses, all the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, 5 plus 5, they are under his total control. So then, with that, if he has developed an attribute of total renunciation, vairagya, if he is full of vairagya, full of aversion to the worldly pleasures and life and attractions, as we are all bound by that. We are all attracted. We live in this world of wants. We want this and we want that. Our mind is always geared up, to look for something which is favorable to me, to possess that, to have that, to enjoy that. See, our tongue always expresses tasty things. We want to see beautiful things. We want to hear beautiful things. So these are all, we are bound like that, normal human beings. But here, such a mumukshu has developed full vairagya, viraga. No attachment, totally, no attachment. Totally desireless. When these conditions are fulfilled, Mahaswami writes, now he is the fit person to get realized by the grace of God, by the grace of Guru, by the grace of Sadguru. He will be shortly realized and he will become Brahmaswarupa himself. He will become a Jnani himself and he will become a Brahmajnani himself, because he will know that he himself is Brahmaswarupa. He will first hand experience that he himself is Atmaswarupa. So, as per the Upanishad statement, Brahmavid Brahmahiva Bhavati. In simple English, what is that? The knower of Brahma becomes Brahma only. ಯಾರು ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮನನ್ನ ಅರ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೋ, ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನ ಯಾರು ಅರ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೋ, ಅವರು ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಶ್ರುತಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರು ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನು ಅರಿತಿದ್ದಾರೋ, ಅನುಭವಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೋ, ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಅಪರೋಕ್ಷವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವತಃ ಅವರೇ ಪ್ರಮಾಣೀಕರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೋ, ಆತ್ಮನನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ತಾವಾಗಿಯೇ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರಗೊಳಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೋ ಅಂತವರು ಸ್ವತಃ ಆತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಶ್ರುತಿ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಿತ್ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಇವ ಭವತಿ. ದ ನೋಯರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಓನ್. In our normal English language, for communication sense, we say that he merges with Brahma. That is, he will revel, he will understand the oneness of Brahma and Atma. Brahma Atma Ekatva Bhava. Brahmatma Ekatva Bhava. He will merge in Brahma, we say. Vedanta says. Actually, there is nothing like merging. There are no two separate entities. Always we have to remember this point. It is only when the delusion is gone, the sense of duality is gone, that I am different and God is different. That duality is there because of I identifying with my body-mind complex as I am. In reality, when I know who really I am not this body and mind complex. I am that supreme consciousness and that supreme Chetana, that cosmic consciousness. Then in general terms we say that it will, this feeling of self will merge with Parabrahma, Vastu or Brahma Padartha or Paramatma. So Atma and Paramatma, they merge. Actually it means there is no difference between the Atma and Paramatma. That is a meaning we have to always remember when the words are used, Brahmatma Ekatva Bhava. That is why the Shruti says, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower, I repeat again and again, what the Upanishads are saying. Mahaswami is right. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. The real knower of the reality, knower of Parabrahma Vastu, the knower of Paramatma, the knower of God as we call in our sense, he becomes that only. That is why in the Chandogya, there are 9 times the Upadesha is given to the sun, Shvetaketa. Tattvamasi, you are that only. Tvam tattasi, you are that only. You are that only. So this is the realization. This is the real emancipation. This is called Sakshatkar. So Mahaswami here, while writing all the points on this, ultimately he makes the point. That is very interesting. We are coming to that. What Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal in his Bhashya, in his explanation, in his commentary, he writes on for this shloka is, he uses very simple, one simple. In English, it is a simple sentence. A Brahmajnani is higher than God. Now we have to remember, very seriously contemplate on this aspect of the purport of the sentence. Mahaswami says, a Brahmajnani is higher than God, higher than Ishvara. Now it looks confusing for most of us. In our anxiety to understand spiritual concepts, Vedantic concepts, the sentence, a Brahmajnani is higher than God or Ishvara means we immediately identify the Brahmajnani also with a body-mind complex. We, by force of habit, we imagine just like me, the Jnani, our Sadguru, who is in front of me, is also a man made up of 5 elements. He is having a Sharira, a body with a mind and buddhi and ego. So this physical body with the mind and buddhi complex or with the antakarana, how this physical body plus, okay, the subtle body also put together, in other words, body-mind complex, how this can be higher than, superior than God himself, Ishvara himself. Now, our mind will not comprehend this. Our mind cannot understand this. Maybe we start laughing in our mind. We start doubting whether the statement is really true or just it has been made for fun in a lighter sense. How a human being can be higher than God, Ishvara, Paramatma? See, the trouble is, that is how we try to equate the Vedantic beautiful utterances with insightful meanings. The sentence appears so simple, difficult to understand. Difficult to understand. Because what Mahaswami continues there, he says, see, a Brahmajnani is Swarat and Samrat himself. He is nothing but the supreme ocean of bliss. He is nothing but that Atma Swarupa. He is nothing but that Pratyagatma. He is nothing but that, what we call as absolute truth, which cannot be explained in terms. The nameless, faceless, motionless, actionless, Sanatana Mula Avyakta, as Acharya has called it. The primordial, most primordial, the basic, the absolute, the most unmanifest, which has no attributes at all, which has no shape or name or gender or anything. It remains that in the same state forever, changeless. It is beyond whatever attributes you can add, it is beyond that. So that is the unmanifest, original Mula Sanatana Avyakta. Mula Sanatana Avyakta. That primordial unmanifest. That substratum, that which cannot be explained in any way by any communication. Even the Shrutis will fail. So the Shrutis, the Upanishads call it as that only, Tat, not beyond that. So, for our sake, the Upanishad says that it is nothing but Nirguna Brahma. Next point. What is Nirguna Brahma? Nirvikara, Nirvishesha, Nirguna Brahma. It is fathomless, it is formless, nameless, attributeless, without any gunas. It is beyond all the three gunas, beyond all the three avasa, beyond all the time concept. Kalatrayatitaha, deshatrayatitaha, avasthatrayatitaha, gunatrayatitaha, sadvastu, absolute, parabrahma vastu, primordial principle, that godly principle, whatever names, we can go on adding the names. Names will never help because the words will fail. The mind cannot reach. The mind cannot understand. Even the buddhi, intellect cannot understand. This is beyond the buddhi and mind. Only it has to be felt inside. It has to be experienced inside. It has to be realized inside. And we have to become that only. By removing the false negation, the false imposition, by removing this delusion that I am the body. So originally, my original nature, the true nature, true reality is that only. So that is greater than Ishvara. Mahaswami writes. So that Brahma Padartha, Nirguna Brahma is greater than Ishvara means, what does it mean? Ishvara, God as we call, as we conceptualize. Paramatma andre nama kalpane ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸಗುಣ ಸಾಕಾರ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ. ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಕಾಣುವಂತಹ, ಪ್ರಕಟ ಆಗುವಂತಹ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ತನ್ನ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಕರುಣೆಯಿಂದ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ತನ್ನ ಭಕ್ತರಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಟ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ರೂಪ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸಾಕಾರ ಸಗುಣ ರೂಪ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕಾರ ಇದೆ, ಹೆಸರಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ನೋಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಒಂದು ದೇಹ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕಣ್ಣೆದುರಿಗೆ ಬರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಶಿವನ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ವಿಷ್ಣು ನಾರಾಯಣ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ದೇವಿ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ಅಮ್ಮನವರ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಗಣಪತಿಯಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ರಾಮನಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ಕೃಷ್ಣನಾಗಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಆಗಬಹುದು. ಹೀಗೆ ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿ, ನಾನಾ ವಿಧ, ನಾನಾ ರೂಪಗಳಿಂದ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಕಂಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಅದು ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸಗುಣ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ರೂಪ. ನಾಮ ಕ್ರಿಯಾ ವಿಶೇಷತೆಗಳಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ರೂಪ, ಸಮೃದ್ಧಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹದ್ದು ಸಗುಣ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ. ನಮಗೆ ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆರಾಧ್ಯ ದೈವನಾಗಿ, ಇಷ್ಟ ದೇವನಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಹರಸ್ತಾನೆ, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ. ಆತ ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಹೆಸರುಗಳನ್ನು ಭಗವಂತ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಈಶ್ವರ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಶಿವ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ನಾರಾಯಣ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಕೃಷ್ಣ ರಾಮ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ದೇವಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ದುರ್ಗಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, ಲಲಿತಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ವಿವಿಧ ರೂಪಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಕಂಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇನದು? ಅದು ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನ ಸಗುಣ ಸಾಕಾರ ರೂಪ. ತನ್ನದೇ ಮಾಯೆಯನ್ನು ತಾನೇ ಧರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು, ತನ್ನ ಶಕ್ತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ತಾನಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಕಟನಾಗ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಯೋಪವೇಶಿತನಾಗಿ, ಮಾಯೋಪವಿಷ್ಟಿತನಾಗಿ, ಮಾಯಾಸಹಿತನಾಗಿ, ಮಾಯಾಶಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಒಡಗೂಡಿ, ಯೋಗ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ಒಡಗೂಡಿ, ವೈಷ್ಣವಿ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ಒಡಗೂಡಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ನಾನಾ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕಟ ಆಗ್ತಾನಲ್ಲ, ಅದೇನದು? ಅದು ಸಗುಣ ಸಾಕಾರ ರೂಪ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಗುಣ ಈಶ್ವರನಿಗೆ ಸೋಪಾದಿಕ ಈಶ್ವರ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು. ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕಟ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆತ ಸೋಪಾದಿಕ, ಉಪಾಧಿಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಉಪಾಧಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮಾಯೆಯ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದ, ತನ್ನದೇ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ, ತನ್ನ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ತಾನೇ ಸುತ್ತಕೊಂಡು, ತನ್ನ ಮಾಯಾ ಪ್ರಭಾವದಿಂದ, ತನ್ನ ಕೈಲಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಮಾಯೆಯಿಂದ ಒಡಗೂಡಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಉಪಾಧಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಆತನಿಗೆ ಸೋಪಾದಿಕ ಈಶ್ವರ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು. ಸೊ the same unmanifest Nirguna Brahma appears at the time of creation as Saguna Brahma, the God, Ishvara, with upadhis, because with the help of the Maya, its own potency, its own illusory potency called Maya or Yoga Maya or Vishnu Maya, with the Maya, with the help of the Shakti called Maya, the potency called Maya, the Lord will appear in the form, different forms. That is called Saguna Ishvara Bhava, Sopadika. It is not Nirguna. It is visible. Of course, not to all, of course. So when he exhibits himself, when he appears himself, as we call de novo, when he arises during creation in the form of Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, as we call, and different names of our Ishtadevatas. The Lord Ishvara may appear as Brahmadeva, creator, as Vishnu, Mahavishnu, Sriman Narayana, as a sustainer, or as Ishvara, Shiva, Maheshwara, as a destroyer of the universe. And different other identities with a difference in the name and the form and the object, the sankalpa. Lord will appear in so many ways, in the form of Divine Mother, in the form of Ganapati, in the form of Anjaneya, whatever you can conceive of, as per the choice of the highest devotee, as he visualizes. When he surrenders totally in the path of bhakti, the Lord pleases himself and appears in that form only. If I constantly worship my Ishtadevata totally, with a total belief as Sri Ramachandra Prabhu, the God may be pleased by my bhakti, my devotion, my surrender, my constant meditation and japa, and one fine day he may appear in front of me in the mental horizon or physically in front of me as Sri Ramachandra only. No doubt about it. So it is called Sopadika Ishvara. With the Maya potency under his own control, he appears with the Upadhi. Whereas Nirguna Brahma, the primary, original unmanifest, is Nirupadika, without any attributes. It is called Nirupadika Brahma. So the Brahmajnani means the one who realizes Atma, nature of Atma, nature of Brahma, nature of self, means he realizes that primordial Moola Sanatana Avyakta Nirvishesha Nirguna Brahma. That is the point. He becomes that. He becomes that Nirguna Brahma. From that, of course, next Saguna Brahma appears during creation. Every time. So these are the points what Mahaswami writes here. So a Brahmajnani in that sense is higher than God, means he has realized Nirguna Brahmatva, which is the point before Saguna Brahma appears in the form and name and shape. From Nirguna Brahma, Saguna Brahma appears. From Nirguna Brahma, Ishvara appears. From Nirguna Brahma, God appears in the form of Shiva, or God appears in the form of Creator Brahma, God appears in the form of Vishnu, the God appears in the form of Divine Mother, Parvati, Lakshmi, Sri Lalita, Durga, all these. So we have to remember this point, difficult to explain also, difficult for us to understand. At the same time, as a contemporary to Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal, who was a Jagat Guru, pontiff of Sri Dakshinamnaya Sringeri Mutt in Karnataka, Jagat Guru Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal took Mahasamadhi in the year 1954 in Sringeri. His contemporary at that time was the one in Tiruvannamalai, far away. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi at the same time. Ramana Maharshi, I think he took Mahasamadhi in the year 1950 in Tiruvannamalai. Now this you will understand very clearly, the anecdote as beautifully referenced by, written by one of the famous devotees of Sri Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, one by name Arthur Osborne, in his authentic book on Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Arthur Osborne from England, who came down, became a devotee of Bhagavan, and along with the family settled down in Tiruvannamalai till his last breath. And remember, he was one of the very closest devotees of Bhagavan. In 1961, he is a root cause to start the famous spiritual magazine called The Mountain Path, published from Tiruvannamalai, Ramanashram, from 1961. He was a founder person for the Mountain Path monthly spiritual magazine, well known, well famous. Now he writes authentically in the book on Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi one small basic anecdote, one interesting. One of the famous, closest disciples of Bhagavan during the 1930s and 40s at that time, some 70, 80 years before, was one by name Sri Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni. With reverence we take his name. He was given this special prefix as Kavyakantha, because he was an authority in Sanskrit at that time during the 1920s and 30s. All over the India, he was known for his Sanskrit proficiency, his proficiency in Sanskrit writing of poems, shlokas, extempore he used to write in praise of the god. He used to write beautiful shlokas and hymns, and extempore he used to take up any subject and then give beautiful, pragmatic, philosophical, theological lectures on any point. So he was given that name Kavyakantha because he was well known for his extempore writing on the spot beautiful Sanskrit hymns praising the Lord in different forms. In fact, one of the famous set of shlokas by Sri Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni or Ganapati Shastri is known as Hamsashramam. In fact, Bhagwan used to praise him a lot. He was one of the favorite shishyas of Bhagwan. Hamsashramam, where Ganapati Muni has, in 1,000 shlokas, in the 1,000 hymns, has praised the Divine Mother, Uma, the Divine Mother. So, such a person, such a great person, ardent devotee, faithful devotee. And another point, the name Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi was publicized, was given to normal people as sort of a anointing. That name was given by Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni only. He is the person who introduced Bhagwan as Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. So such a great personality, such a great name, such a wonderful. See, he was one of the ardent disciples and a wonderful practitioner of yoga and tapas and dhyana. His life totally dedicated in the line of spirituality. He always believed ardently, completely, thoroughly that his Guru, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, is nothing but incarnation of Lord Muruga himself, Lord Subramanya himself, Lord Kartikeya himself, Lord Subramanya himself. You remember in our Indian mythology, let me not use the horrible word mythology. In our Indian philosophical context, in our Puranas, Shanmukha, like Ganapati, they happen to be the direct progeny of Shiva and Parvati. So, Shanmukha or Subramanya or Muruga or Skanda or Guha, these are all names, different names, or Kartikeya, different names. Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni remembered, and always he professed and he publicized and he used to publicly make an announcement to all the people that our Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is nothing but Muruga himself, reincarnate. Nothing but Kartikeya himself, reincarnate. Nothing but Skanda himself, reincarnate. Nothing but Lord Subramanya himself, reincarnate. Absolute. No doubt about it. And when this matter was finally brought to the notice of Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, the other disciples came and told Bhagwan that Sadguru, we know, you were one of the closest disciples. Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni always declares vehemently, in spite of our trying to prevent him, he goes on declaring to each and everyone that you are the incarnate of Subramanya, Lord Subramanya. Now, is it a fact? So the other disciples wanted to know. Then smilingly, usually Bhagwan is known for very short and crisp answers. Most of the time, remember, he always used to be in Sahaja Samadhi. without talking, deeply immersed in his Sahajavastha. And then he answers this point with a simple sentence. You know what Bhagavan says? Lord Subramanya, or Kartikeya as we call, is only one aspect of God. Lord Subramanya is only one aspect of God. Whereas, Bhagavan adds, whereas the Brahmajnani is God himself. Look at that beautiful, very simple, profound, direct, clear-cut, unambiguous, specific statement. Lord Subramanya is only one aspect of God, whereas a Brahmajnani is God himself. Can you relate this? In Tiruvannamalai, Bhagavan says this. That means what? When he says Brahmajnani is God himself, means he is referring to the Nirupadika, Nirguna, Nirvishesha, Brahma Padartha. The primordial, Moola, Sanatana, Avyakta, Brahma Vastu. That absolute, which has no name and shape and form. From that Nirguna Brahma, Saguna Brahma appears, as Mahaswami writes here in the comment. See both the points. Both two Jivan Muktas, Maha Avadhutas of the time, contemporaries, one in Sringeri and one in Tiruvannamalai, make the same point very clear. So this is the sort of a digression we have to remember here, what Mahaswami writes. So we have to understand. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಯು ನಾವು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಲ್ಪನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ರೂಪ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ರೂಪಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹಿಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಮೂಲ ಸನಾತನ ನಿರ್ವಿಶೇಷ ನಿರ್ಗುಣ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮನಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಸ್ವತಃ ಆತನೇ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು ಆಗಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಿದ್ಧಾಂತ ಇದೆ. ಈಶ್ವರ ಸಗುಣ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ, ಔಪಾದಿಕ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ. ಆದರೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ನಿರುಪಾದಿಕ ನಿರ್ಗುಣ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತು. So the next two lines of the shloka we come to that today. Etadvaramajasramukti yuvate yasmat tvamasmat param sarvatra sprahaya sadatmani sada prajnam purusheyase. Etadvaramajasramukti yuvate yasmat tvam asmat param sarvatra sprahaya sadatmani sada prajnam ಪುರುಷೇಯಸೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಎರಡು ಚರಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ್ದು. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಯಾವ ಮುಮುಕ್ಷು ಆತ್ಮಸಂಪನ್ನನಾಗಿ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿ ತಾನೇ ಸ್ವತಃ ಸ್ವರಾಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಮ್ರಾಟ್ ಆಗುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಗ್ಯನಾಗಿದ್ದಾನೋ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾನುಭವ ಪಡೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಗ್ಯನಾಗಿದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಥವನಿಗೆ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಸುಲಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಹತ್ತಿರದಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ. ಆತನಿಗೆ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಎನ್ನುವುದು, ಈ ಬಂಧನದಿಂದ ನಿವೃತ್ತನಾಗುವುದು, ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಹೊಂದೋದು ಬಹಳ ಸುಲಭ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಶಿಷ್ಯ, ನೀನು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ, ಶುದ್ಧ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಸೆಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನು ಶ್ರೇಯಸ್ಸಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ನೀನು ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿ ಆತ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠನಾಗಿ ಆತ್ಮಧ್ಯಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರ ಉಪದೇಶ. ಏತದ್ವಾರಮಜಸ್ರ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಯುವತೆ ಯಸ್ಮಾತ್ ತ್ವಮಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಪರಂ ಸರ್ವತ್ರ ಸ್ಪೃಹಯಾ ಸದಾತ್ಮನಿ ಸದಾ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾ ಪುರುಷೇಯಸೆ. That is why Acharya tells his disciple, look, my dear disciple, what is that you have to do? You therefore, without desiring anything, without expecting anything, develop that total detachment, vairagya. Detach yourself from all sorts of sensuous pleasures. Detach yourself from desires. Let the desires to possess this, to have this, to enjoy that, to enjoy this, let it not cloud your mind. Let it not delude your mind. Come out of the delusion. Become detached. Totally become detached. Don't desire anything, worldly pleasures or worldly things, so that ultimately you become eligible for liberation. Ultimately, without any expectation, giving all desires, cultivate that Atma Bhava in your deep meditative samadhi state, and then you will be fit enough to get the final benefit of your spiritual sadhana, that is realization. You will be realizing the Brahma Padartha. You will be realizing your true nature. So that is what Acharya teaches. Such a vairagya, such an intense desirelessness, such a detachment, and along with the self-control leads to, ultimately, it is a door to open the doors. It is a step towards a door which opens into liberation. So it is a gateway to liberation, what Acharya is talking. Next shloka, 376, is the landmark shloka. Next. Very interesting shloka. Here, very important shloka. 4 charanas are there, 4 lines are there. Asham chindi vishopameshu vishayeshveshaiva mrutyosrutihi tyaktva jati kulashrameshvabhimatim munchati durat kriyah dehadavasati tyaja atmadhishanam prajnam purushvatmani tvam drashtasya malosi nirdvayaparam brahmasi yadvastutah. Brahmasi yat vastutah. Vastutah yat brahma asi. Brahmasi yat vastutah. Now here, he is giving step by step instructions. And also he is summarizing exactly what all the Upanishads are telling. The entire summary, the gist of the Upanishads are there in this shloka. The highest philosophical truth is shown here in the verse by Acharya. Vishopameshu asham chindhi vishayeshu eshaiva mrutyosruti. ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರಿಗೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ವಿಷ ಸದೃಶ, ವಿಷ ಸಮಾನವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ವಿಷಯ ಸುಖಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಸೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಶಾಂ ಚಿಂದಿ, ಆಶೆಯನ್ನ ಬಿಡು, ನಿನ್ನ ಆಸೆಯನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡು. ವಿಷಯ ಸುಖಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಆಸೆಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ, ಅವನ್ನ ಕತ್ತರಿಸಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು. ತ್ಯಕ್ವಾ ಜಾತಿ ಕುಲಾಶ್ರಮೇಶು ಅಭಿಮತಿಂ. ನೀನು ಇಂತಹ ಜಾತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಇಂತಹ ಕುಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ನಾನು ಇಂತಹ ಆಶ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಇಂತಹ ಆಶ್ರಮವಾಸಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಆಶ್ರಮ ಹಿಯರ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಸ್. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಅಭಿಮಾನ, ಪೊಳ್ಳು ಅಭಿಮಾನ, ಸುಳ್ಳು ಅಭಿಮಾನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಿಡಬೇಕು. ನಾನು ಇಂಥವನು, ಇಂತಹ ಕುಲ, ಇಂತಹ ಜಾತಿ, ನಾನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಚಾರಿ, ನಾನು ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿ, ನಾನು ಗೃಹಸ್ಥ, ನಾನು ವಾನಪ್ರಸ್ಥ. ಇದು 4 ಆಶ್ರಮಗಳು ವೇದಾಂತದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಮರೆತು ನಾನು ಗಂಡು, ನಾನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು, ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಭಾವನೆಗಳನ್ನು, ಲಿಂಗ ಜಾತಿ ಭೇದ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಮರೆತು ನಾನು ಇಂಥವನು ಇಂಥವಳು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ತ್ಯಕ್ವಾ ಜಾತಿ ಕುಲಾಶ್ರಮೇಶು ಅಭಿಮತಿಂ ಮುಂಚಾತಿ ದೂರಾತ್ ಕ್ರಿಯಾ. ನಿನ್ನ ಕ್ರಿಯಾ ಮುಂಚಾತಿ ದೂರ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಗಳಿಂದ ದೂರ ಸರಿದು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಗಳು ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಆಸೆಯಿಂದ, ಅಭಿಪ್ಸೆಯಿಂದ, ಫಲಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿಯ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಫಲವನ್ನ ಪಡೆಯಬೇಕು ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ, ಈ ಜನ್ಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮರಣಾನಂತರ ಮುಂದೆ ಸ್ವರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪರದಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆಸೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ಮಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಾಮ್ಯ ಕರ್ಮಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು. ಈ ರೀತಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಮ್ಯ ಕರ್ಮಗಳಿಂದ ದೂರ ಆಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮ ಕರ್ಮನಾಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ನೀನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೂ ಆಸೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಭಗವತ್ ಪ್ರೀತಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ, ಕೇವಲ ಭಗವತ್ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಭಗವಂತನಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ನಾನು ಅನ್ನೋ ಭಾವ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅದೇ ಅರ್ಥ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಮುಂಚಾತಿ ದೂರಾತ್ ಕ್ರಿಯ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಗಳನ್ನು ದೂರ ಸರಿಸು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಗಳಿಂದ ದೂರ ಆಗು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ಅರ್ಥ. ಕಾಮ್ಯ ಕರ್ಮಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ನಿನ್ನ ಜೀವನದ ಕರ್ಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸೆಗಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮನಾಗಿ ಫಲಾಪೇಕ್ಷೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ, ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ ಮೂಲ ಸಾರ ಕರ್ಮಯೋಗದ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವ, ಕರ್ಮಣ್ಯೇ ಮಾ ಫಲೇಶು ಕದಾಚ. ಯಾರು ನಿಷ್ಕಾಮನಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೋ, ಆಸೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ, ಅವನು ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರಿಯನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಭಗವಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಆತ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಸೇರ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. ಹಾಗೆ ಅದೇ ಅರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ದೇಹಾದವಸತಿ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಸ್ಪ್ಲಿಟ್, ದೇಹಾದೌ ಅಸತಿ ತ್ಯಜ ಆತ್ಮಧಿಷಣಾಂ. ದೇಹಾದೌ ಅಸತಿ ದೇಹಾದೌ ಆತ್ಮಧಿಷಣಾಂ ತ್ಯಜ. ದೇಹ, ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು, ಈ ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಇದು ನಾನು, ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ಇದು ಏನು ಇತ್ಯಾದಿಗಳಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಾಣ, ದೇಹ, ಇಂದ್ರಿಯ, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಮನ, ಇವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಬಿಡು. ಇವ್ಯಾವುದು ನೀನಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ದೇಹಾದೌ ಅಸತಿ ತ್ಯಜ ಆತ್ಮಧಿಷಣ. ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇಹ, ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಇಂದ್ರಿಯಗಳು, ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮನಸ್ಸು, ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು, ಅಭಿಮಾನ, ಅಹಂಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದ ನೀನು ಇದ್ಯಾವುದು ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ದೇಹಾದೌ ಅಸತಿ ದೇಹಾದೌ ತ್ಯಜ ಆತ್ಮಧಿಷಣ. ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾಂ ಕುರು ಆತ್ಮನಿ. ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾಂ ಆತ್ಮನಿ ಕುರುಷ್ವ. ನೀನು ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಸಮಾಹಿತನಾಗು, ನೀನು ಆತ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ನೀನು ದೇಹ, ಮಿಥ್ಯಾಭಿಮಾನ, ಶರೀರಾಭಿಮಾನ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಈ ಆತ್ಮನಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಸಮಾಹಿತನಾಗು. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ನಿನಗೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದೀಯೇ. ತ್ವಂ ದೃಷ್ಟಾಸಿ, ತ್ವಂ ಅಮಲೋಸಿ, ನಿರ್ದ್ವಯ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಸಿ ಯತ್ ವಸ್ತುತಃ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ದೃಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀಯ. ತ್ವಂ ದೃಷ್ಟಾಸಿ, ನೀನು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಅಮಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ನಿಷ್ಕಳಂಕ ನಿರುಪಾಧಿಕ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಸ್ತುವೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀಯ. ನಿತ್ಯ ಬುದ್ಧ ಶುದ್ಧ ಮುಕ್ತ ಆತ್ಮಸ್ವರೂಪನೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀಯ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಅಮಲಾಸಿ ನಿರ್ದ್ವಯ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಸಿ. ನೀನು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಆ ನಿರ್ದ್ವಯ ಅದ್ವಯನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ, ಏಕವಸ್ತು ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ, ಪರಮವಸ್ತು ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ, ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕೂ ಅತೀತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ನೀನಾಗಿದ್ದೀಯ. ಅದೇ ಅರ್ಥ. ನಿರ್ದ್ವಯ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಸಿ, ನೀನು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀಯ. ವಸ್ತುತಃ, ಯತ್ ವಸ್ತುತಃ, ಇನ್ ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ, ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲೂ ನೀನು ಈ ದೇಹ, ಬುದ್ಧಿ, ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಶರೀರ ಅಲ್ಲವೇ ಅಲ್ಲ. ನೀನು ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ರೂಪವೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀಯ, ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಸ್ತುವೇ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀಯಪ್ಪ. ಇದನ್ನ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಯು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದಿಸ್. ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಆಶಾಂ ಛಿಂದಿ ವಿಶೋಪಮೇಶು ವಿಷಯೇಷು ಏಷೈವ ಮೃತ್ಯೋಸ್ರತಿಃ ತ್ಯಕ್ವಾ ಜಾತಿ ಕುಲಾಶ್ರಮೇಷು ಅಭಿಮತಿಂ ಮುಂಚಾತಿ ದೂರಾತ್ ಕ್ರಿಯಾಃ. ದೇಹಾದೌ ಅಸತಿ ತ್ಯಜ ಆತ್ಮಧಾಂ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾಂ ಕುರುಷ್ವ ಆತ್ಮನಿ. ತ್ವಂ ದ್ರಷ್ಟಾಸಿ ಅಮಲೋಸಿ ನಿರ್ದ್ವಯ ಪರಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಸಿ ಯದ್ವಸ್ತುತಃ. Split like this. So what Acharya is giving hint here. Asham chindi vishopameshu vishayeshu. Vishopameshu vishayeshu asham chindi. See, all your desires, your acquiring pleasurable things in life, they are like poison. So cut off your expectation, cut off your desires for obtaining, acquiring sensual, pleasurable objects in life. They are like poison. Temporarily, your mind is deluded by the pleasure and enjoyment, but they won't help you in crossing over this samsara. They won't help you in preventing your rebirth after. All the money, all the wealth, all the position, and the power of ruling over people, everything temporarily will, delude your mind, they cloud your mind, mesmerize your mind, hypnotize your mind, but they won't prevent you from rebirth. That is the point. So they are like poison. So give up such desires because it's a gateway to death only. Mrityo sat srutihi. Ultimately, you leave everything and die one day. All that you possess, amass so much wealth and so much things in your life, so much immovable properties, whatever it is, your enjoyment bound, it has no bounds, limitless. Your expectation limitless. Your desires become limitless. The more and more the power and money they are in your hands, you try to boss over the people, you try to rule over everyone, you try to rule the country, you try to rule the nation, and you always, your desires consequentially, exponentially, geometrically, they go on multiplying. Where is the end? There is no end. Do they prevent your rebirth? No. All that you amass, ultimately, you have to leave everything behind and go. Nothing will prevent you, nothing will help you to surpass the death and the rebirth. So you are again caught up in samsara. So, however you try to, satisfy your lust, your desire, still you remain unsatisfied. Still you remain always unsatisfied. Mind is never satisfied. Mind is the greatest culprit. It fools around, it deludes you, it spells, because it's all always under the influence of Maya. The Maya will bind us. So we try to always enjoy in our life, make merry. But always we use this word. Our aim is to possess everything we want in life. Whatever imagination comes into the mind, it should happen. A reality. It should develop into a reality. That's what Acharya says here. You consider them as poisonous things. Asham chindi vishopameshu vishayeshu. Yeshaiva mrityo srutihi. They lead to death only. With everything, ultimately you die one day. You don't carry anything with you. Everything you have to leave behind and die. Again, you are reborn after some time into another, maybe what type of individual, transmigration, we don't know. If you have done a lot of good karmas, really good karmas in this life or previous sanchita karma, which are added upon, they decide whether you to be born again as a human being or any other animal. We don't know that. Karmagati. We don't know that. So, tektva jati kulam ashrameshu abhimatim munchati durat priyaha. So, keep away yourself from all karmic karmas, all the actions with expectations in life. All the actions generate out of your desire. The desire to get good things in this life or the desire to get heaven, to go to heaven after death. With that expectation, all your actions, all the kama karmas as they are called, yajna, dana, tapas, in order to get benefit, they will not lead you to liberation. They will not lead you to mukti. So keep away from all kama karmas. All actions means all types of such kama karmas. Keep away yourself. Tektva jati kulam ashramam ashrameshu abhimatim. Tektva abhimatim jati kula ashrameshu. So don't have that desire, the feeling, the attribute in your mind that you belong to this particular caste, this upper caste, this particular clan, the clan. this particular gotra, jati, kula. You belong to this particular clan itself, higher level. Ashrama. Ashrama, in the philosophical sense, there are 4 ashramas, stages in life. Brahmachari, grahastha, sannyasi, and vanaprastha. So don't get yourself stuck in such upadis. I am a married man, I am an unmarried person, I am a brahmachari, I am a bachelor, I am a student, I am a male, I am female, I am man, I am woman, I am a sannyasi, I am a widower. No, all that feelings upadhi should be cut. Tyaktva jati kula ashrameshu abhimatim munchati durat kriyaha. And getting rid, not performing any of the karmic karmas. Always remain silent. That is the point. Dehadau asati tyaja atma dishanam. Now remove, totally cut off your sharira abhiman. Totally cut off that you are the body mind complex. Prajnam kurushva atmani. So you enter into the concentrated, deep meditative mode within yourself. Dive yourself inward, deeply into your mind, deeply into samadhi state, deeply into meditation. Try to realize your real nature. Then you try to understand who really you are. If you are not the body-mind complex, then contemplate, meditate, constantly meditate, and meditate to know who you are. And finally, Acharya says here, so you remember, Tvam drashtasi, you are the real seer. Drashta, you are the seer. You are the real knower. Amalosi, you are that pure. You are that pure. You are not the asat. You are that total purity. Nitya Shuddha Bhukta. Nitya Shuddha Buddha. Shuddha. You are that purest of the pure, absolute principle. Tvam drashtasi, tvam amalosi, tvam nirdaya param brahmasi vastutaha. In reality, you are that parabrahma vastu. You are that parabrahma most unmanifest and which cannot be explained. You are that principle. You are that cosmic principle. You are that Parama Chaitanya. You are that Parabrahma Vastu. You are that Parabrahma Padartha. Or in our words, simply, you are that God. Nirvishesha, Nirvikalpa, Nirguna Parabrahma. A God who is invisible. A God without any form and name and shape. You are that. So, with Guru Sankalpa, we'll stop here. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama. Hari Om.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear.
Oh,
Now I
sorry
can
about
hear.
that, sir. Some
Yeah.
technical glitches, apologies for that. But
Yeah.
Hari Om, we were successfully able to conduct today's session. May such Guru's grace be upon us always. Hari
Thank
Om.
you.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.